Hello everyone, this is Solomon of Solomonic Demons, and today we're going to be talking about Lunchbox Guitar Amplifiers. For those that don't know, a Lunchbox amplifier is an amplifier that is usually a tube amplifier under 20 watts. And now this can be the PRS MT15, this can be my PV6505MH, my Randall Diablo 5 watts, and the orange Tiny Terror series, the orange Dark Terror. Like I said, usually amplifiers that are loaded with EL34 tubes or EL84 tubes or 6LS6 tubes, but are under 20 watts. Now these amplifiers are usually the mini version of their big brothers, like the PV6505MH is the mini amplifier version of the PV6505 120 watts plus, or the Randall Diablo RD5H is the 5 watts version of the Randall Diablo 100 watts version. Now in the case of the Randall Diablo, there is multiple versions of Lunchbox amplifiers. We have the Randall Diablo RD1H, the Randall Diablo RD5H, that is the one that I have on the back, and the Randall Diablo 20 watts. Now the Randall Diablo also have the 45 watts version, but I won't catalogize the 45 watts version as a Lunchbox amplifier because it's a 45 watts amplifier, not under 20 watts. And like I said, to be a Lunchbox amplifier, usually the amplifiers gotta be under 20 watts, it gotta be really compact, easy to carry around. I want to talk about this topic because every time that I do a review, every time that I talk about any Lunchbox amplifier that I had on the past, that I own in the past, when I share my opinions or when I just share a thought about these amplifiers in these Facebook groups or in Reddit, there is always somebody, there is always a guy that is gonna say that amplifier sounds really good for being a toy. There is always somebody that gonna try to dismiss the fact that these amplifiers are only a different version of the Big Brother, you know, a compact version of the big amplifier, that it has less wattage, that is less capable of have the same level of volume. And sometimes the only difference that you can find in between the big one and the small ones are the fact that there is a variation on tubes, like the PV6505 Plus that comes with 6LS6 tubes and the PV6505MH that comes with EL84 tubes, but the characteristic and the sound of the amplifier is actually there. And that's where I want to go with this video, because I don't understand why these people keep commenting that these amplifiers are toys when they are not toys at all. And I'm going for my personal experience. In the past I had a bunch of amplifiers over 100 watts, so I don't understand why these people keep referring about these amplifiers as toys, because these amplifiers are not toys. You can record an entire album with these amplifiers, you can play on a small venue with these amplifiers, or even I have seen playing bands in the Starland Ballroom in New Jersey. For those that knows how the Starland Ballroom it is actually a very big venue. I have seen a lot of bands playing over there with Lunchbox amplifiers, with AVH 5153 Lunchboxes, and with the Orange Dark Terror Lunchboxes, and those amplifiers are EL84 amplifiers. That mean that they are not as loud as the EL34 or 6LS6 versions of their amplifiers. And every time that I have seen bands playing with these micro amplifiers, I haven't seen them having any kind of issue or something. Also, I do have rehearsal with my micro amplifiers in the past, and I also never had any kind of problem when I had practice or rehearsal with a drum set, with a real drum set and a Lunchbox amplifier. I always had been able to listen myself, everybody had been able to listen the guitars without any problem. And with the fact that I don't own a real studio, a real recording studio that I record my songs and everything related with my band, with the channel on my studio, on my basement, for me, for my personal experience, always record a Lunchbox amplifier is easier if we compare it when I'm trying to record a big tube amplifier, especially when I go above the 100 watts. Is really hard. That's why the only big amplifiers that I kept are my EVH 5150 Iconic and my PB Butcher, because these amplifiers, even if this one is 100 watts and the EVH 5150 Iconic is 80 watts, you can attenuate the amplifiers to half of the power of the amplifiers, and that's actually the way that I record it. Actually, the EVH Iconic you can go a quarter, so that means that the amplifier can be played as 20 watts. Like I said, the reason it is because it's easier to record. Every time I pass that 50 watts mark, it gets harder for me, especially because it's hard to attenuate the big amplifiers. And when I made a review of the Bugera PS1 and my attenuator, my dual box, I said in the review that I didn't experience any kind of problems attenuating or using the Bugera to record big tubes amplifiers, But the louder the amplifier, the more powerful the amplifier, and the more that I had to attenuate the amplifier for me to being able to record the amplifier straight to a cabinet. And the sound of the amplifier was getting different. It wasn't the same sound when the amplifier wasn't attenuated. So that's not a problem that I have when I try to record my Lunchbox amplifiers, and I never experienced that kind of problem. For example, right now, what you guys hear on the mix was my Randall Diablo connected straight to my Bugera PS1, and I didn't have to attenuate the amplifier at all, because this is a 5 watts amplifier, and as soon as you connect the amplifier to the load box, to the Bugera PS1, the Bugera PS1 cuts the power of the amplifier in half. The sound didn't change at all, or at least I cannot perceive any kind of change in sound of the amplifier. So that's one thing, that's a big plus for these toys if we compare them with big tubes amplifiers. For me, these are professional recording equipment that have some more advantages if we compare them, like I said, with the bigger versions, especially for the home recording studio. So yeah, that's why sometimes when I read these kind of comments, it makes me kind of laugh. For me, it is a lot of ignorance. It is people that they don't know what they are talking about these tools that we use to compose music. And they just don't like the fact that there is a mini version of the amplifier that they have that sounds great, that is very useful, and is half of the price, or sometimes even cheaper, of the amplifier that they do have. Instead of degrading the amplifier, instead of telling somebody, hey, if you can buy the real thing, if you can buy the big tube amplifier, try to put yourself in the position of the other person. I mean, you guys want to be mentors, you want to give advice to somebody that want to learn to play guitar, do it the right way. Don't be an asshole. This was Solomon of Solomonic Demons. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care, bye.